G'day YouTube, how the heck are we doing? It is Foul Play here, back for some more modern action. So we did do that poll a little while ago. We got pretty much split votes between me playing Bant and me playing Green-White. And then a couple of votes came in late, so Green-White ended up outvoting the Bant variant. So we're going to be playing Green-White here today. I'll preface this by saying Brothers of War has just come out. Audacity has been released. I have purchased copies of Audacity. I'm a big believer of that card. However, it's not legal yet online. I think it goes legal next Friday. So I'll be doing another video of that with that in the deck. I have got a deck list in mind. So if you want to see that video, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out next week. All right, so with the deck here, we have got Beside You in the land base. We've trimmed on Temple Garden and I think a fetch land to make room for Beside You, so that seems fine to me. We've got the usual 1 mana creatures. At 2 mana, I've got 2 copies of course Spirit Dancer, but I've actually gone for 3 copies of Fluffy Paws. So this was pretty impressive to me last league. Played it against, I think it was my Murktide opponent, and he went to remove it during his own turn. I force negated that removal spell, and then I got to unload. I think I only had 2 mana, so I think it ended up being for 13 on the next turn with the combination of 4 auras. So it seems pretty bonkers to me from what I've seen so far. So I want to do some more testing with it, hence the 3 copies. Now, with the auras, so we have got playsets of Ethereal, Hyena Umbra, Sentinel's Eyes, Rancor, and Daybreak Coronet. Sentinel's Eyes, I'm pretty keen for. I think it's very strong into the Murktide matchup, into Ragavan decks, so it should be really good for us. We have got a little bit of a rainbow of other auras here. It does work well with Light Paws, Fluffy Paws to have a rainbow of auras like this. So Alpha Authority is a card that wouldn't usually see play, but it does give hexproof, which is understandably pretty useful for us. We've also got Spirit Mantle, which gives pro from creatures, so that could be good into Fury, into Solitude, and just in general with attacking. Griff's Boon for flying, and Spider Umbra for reach. So a combination of these cards will help you to block Murktide Regent. Another thing we should note is 6 copies of Totem Armor between Hyena Umbra and Spider Umbra. Okay, so with the sideboard here, we've gone for a playset of a Leyline of Sanctity. Obviously that's good if we do run into burn, but it's also good against Edict decks, and I believe it's good against Indomitable Creativities and Archon's Trigger because that's supposed to target, right? Just as long as it stays on the battlefield. So playset of Force of Vigor for if we verse the Hammer Time deck. We have also got the 2 Beside You in the main deck, so that both of those will help. Gather Fatigue for creativity, for Tron, for blue-white control, Prismatic Ending, you know, bit annoying. Rest in Peace. So I don't really love Graveyard Hate at the moment with the decks that are running around, but Rest in Peace is quite good at stopping Renin 6 plus Beside You lock, so I'm on board with that. And Deafening Silence for the Cascade decks. Okay, so here we are for match number 1, winning the die roll against JS Vano, and hand looks pretty decent. We've got Bogle, Rancor plus Daybreak. Fluffy Paws is potentially helpful as well, and for if our life total matters, our land base is not going to hurt us so far this game. If we see that we are versing something like Tron, I might just turn to Fluffy Paws and then look to unload on Fluffy Paws and win the match. Alright, turn 1 Bogle. Opponent with the Subtlety, so that's a bit of an annoyance. We could, March of the Pale Trident, we're up against Merfolk here. Interesting. I think we chuck it on top. I think I kind of want to play out Fluffy Paws next turn though. We'll see how aggressive they are with their start. I don't think... Yeah, Fluffy Paw is going to be good to go in on. Maybe I'm supposed to just bottom the Bogle. Because don't forget, our opponent can have access to is it Vidolian Hexcatcher which can counter non-creature spells by sacking a Merfolk, so getting that extra aura value off the Floofy Paws, very strong. Opponent with Island Pass, and yeah, let's go for it. See how our opponent responds. All right, Floofy Paws does resolve. Opponent, Silvergill Adept. Wow, okay. So they reveal Silvergill Adept with their Silvergill. We know one is in hand. Yeah, so just Rancor, response opponent. No, that just hard resolves. Wow, that's really good for us. So we'll get Ethereal Armor. We'll go for Daybreak now. And we'll just get... Okay, opponent concedes. Excellent for us. I was probably going to get Alpha Authority from that one. So, sideboarding against Merfolk. Well, I mean, we could look to interact with Aether Vial and disrupt some of their tempo. I think mostly this should be a good matchup for us. I'm not going to look to change anything. A reminder as well, guys, if you do enjoy the video and want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing. Alright, so opponent keeping a 7. We've got no creatures, so we're going to mulligan. We could go Dryad Arbor, but that seems a little bit weak to me. So we mulligan to this one. I have a feeling like if we keep this, we're just potentially getting blown out. Let's keep it. We are up a game. Ditch Beside You, so we can cast Daybreak if we draw it. Alright, so opponent plays Island and passes to us. So Temple Garden, pass back. Alright, and now opponent Tide Shaper on the Temple Garden. That's a frustrating one. So, we play out Temple Garden. We can resolve Floofy Paws. Hopefully they don't have the second Tide Shaper or things could get dicey. Opponent attacks. Alright, we're going to take that one. Lose a little bit of life. See what happens off of us casting... I think we want to start on Hyena Umbra. See if our opponent responds to this. They could Brazen Borrow or bounce our creature. Dismember on our creature. That's an annoying one. So Hyena Umbra is going to fizzle, and we need to draw to a new creature. Opponent playing Spayloon. Attacking in for 2. 1 mana up, 3 cards in hand. Alright, so we're going to cycle this Horizon Canopy, look for our guy, find Sentinel's Eyes, find a guy. Alright, play out the Glade Cover Scout. Okay, so that resolves. That's going to be a lot harder for them to interact with. And we've got a good run of auras in hand to potentially resolve. Currently only 1 mana though. So, opponent attacks. Drawing a card with Spayloon, no blocks from us. We're going to 9. Opponent plays Silvergill Adept, revealing Curse Catcher. Mutavault coming down as well. 3 cards in hand. So that's enough to hardcast Force of Negation. We do find the Razorverge Thicket. That is potentially an important one. So, we're going to start things off by going Sentinel's Eyes here. We want them to counter this so we can resolve Ethereal Armor. Alright, so Force of Negation. So we lose that one. We resolve Ethereal Armor, no attacks. We'll look to block Tide Shaper, free up our Temple Garden. And we just need to... Wow, another Force of Negation, Exile and Curse Catcher. Damn. It's a very sad looking scout at the moment. We do still have auras in hand. If we survive and we can go Rancor Daybreak, that will win. Assuming no more force. Alright, so opponent attacking in. No Mutavault here from our opponent. We go to 2. So I feel like that was potentially a misplay from our opponent. Can we get back into this? That's unfortunate. It's Dried Arbor, so we're not going to be able to cast our Daybreak Coronet off that. Given we're going to lose the game here, let's go ahead and concede. Interesting to see they're running Dismember. I mean, we still don't change anything. We just resubmit. We should still be favored here. All right, this looks like a very decent hand. We'll go ahead and keep. All right, so we will utilize Windswept Heath for Temple Garden. There's potential that we'd want to block with a Dried Arbor in the future. There's also potential we want to cycle Horizon Canopy and play around Vidolian Hexcatcher. All right, opponent turn 1 Aether Vial. So we're going to start it off with Hyena Umbra, see if our opponent responds. We don't show land yet, we show land later. So that one does resolve. I guess we'll try for Ethereal Armor. I feel like there's a force here. Wow, Ethereal Armor resolves. Huge. It's got to be good for us. Okay, and opponent plays a Tide Shaper going after our mana. I mean, this is totally fine. We have plenty of lands in hand. Oh, wow, and we draw Floofy Paws. That's a pretty impressive draw. So now I'm going to go ahead and Temple Garden, pay the life. We are going to play out Floofy Paws. Spider Umbra on Bogle, and then we get the free tutorage for Floofy Paws, assuming this one resolves. Cool. Take that. I guess we can get Rancor, and then we can transfer that across later on. Seems reasonable. All right, I had Teck for 7. Opponent decides to block. All right. We'll take that. I guess there could be planning moves ahead where maybe we suicide a Floofy Paws and get Rancor back from the grave and play it. Opponent Silverguild Adept revealing the Master. Vial on 2. Wow, we get to untap here. Okay, well, let's just go ahead and Ethereal Armor on our Floofy Paws. Opponent does find Force of Negation. That's a shame. All right, so we will now cycle our Horizon Canopy. See what we find. Find Core Spirit Dancer. Yeah, I'm pretty fine attacking with both here, I think. Getting Rancor on Bogle, we do get the draw off the Spirit Dancer too. Seems pretty reasonable. All right, so hold on. It's probably correct just to Rancor on the Bogle this turn. No force. All right, so now we've got Trample assembled on our Bogle. Opponent is on 6 life. Should be pretty good for us. Opponent leaves Vial on 2. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to attack. Yes, we can play Spirit Mantle here and guarantee the win. I think it's fine doing it this way. Yep. So, of course, we do have First Strike. We do have Totem Armor here. Opponent does not understand the way our deck works, unfortunately for them. So, if we go... I think I've done blocking order wrong here. My mistake. We do still machine gun the whole board, though. So, that is reasonable. And opponent's down to 1 mana. I mean, yeah, good games. Maybe not so much for our opponent, but good showing for our deck. Okay, welcome back for the second match here. We won the die roll again. Yeah, up against DWW. Gonna keep this 7. Looks pretty decent. I mean, no Edict Protection, but I don't think Liliana's in huge prevalence currently. Really good clock on with these auras, and we have a rainbow of everything, right? Alright, so pretty straightforward. Temple Garden. Play our guy. And pass turn. Opponent shocks in Blood Crypt, and here comes Grief. So if they flash like this back, that could be pretty annoying. We'll be in a fair bit of reliance from the top of our library. Fortunately, we do have high aura quality in hand, though. Alright, so they take away the Rancor. And looks like they have Undying Malice. I mean, why does this need to be a thing? Oh, this is filthy. Glacier enters tap. That gives us 1 attack. So goodbye Ethereal Armor, presumably. I can't believe Wizards doubled down on the Undying effect cards at instant speed here. I mean, seems pretty crazy. They take Spider Umbra. Is that indicative of Blood Crypt? I mean, giving us both these auras is not great. Find another Bogle. Alright, so play. Any response opponent? No. So you want us to have a giant Vigilance first striking creature. I would think the other auras are better for our opponent. I think taking Ethereal plus Rancor is correct and leaving us with Spider Sentinels, but maybe they've got something in mind. Opponent with Thoughtseize here. Sure. This... Oh. Are we versing a Death Shadow deck here? Is this why they're aggressively attacking their own life total? Now, we can't block because we don't have 2 creatures. Find the Horizon Canopy. Alright, so we'll play out Horizon Canopy. I think we assume it's not Shadow and we start attacking. I'm not going to crack Horizon Canopy this turn. I want to do it in my opponent's end step to avoid 2 mana auras getting discarded. Opponent fetching out the basic swamp there. That's very pretty artwork. Alright, so opponent playing out Fury here, pitching the Blood Moon. That is terrifying. I guess they bricked on mana here, so they get to keep Fury here. Undying Malice again. And opponent attacking in. No blocks from us. Not with that menace going on. We go down to 9. Sack Horizon Canopy, end step. Find the Spirit Mantle, alright. Not too bad. Play that one out. So that would take us up to a 6/6, which can put our opponent to 1. We can block our Fury, block our opponent's Fury very effectively too. We should be winning this race. Opponent doesn't have any other play here. We have protection from creatures if they hold back blockers. They can't block. Basically, they have to attack. Hope we don't block and then maybe kill us off with a lightning bolt. Alright, we do take the victory there. Excellent. On to sideboarding. So, Leyline of Sanctity, important here. Also, our opponent has Blood Moon, so we want to consider some number of Force of Negation. Might trim on Floofy Paws a little bit. Boarding out cards here is likely going to be difficult. I wonder if we're facing like Ratchet Bomb as well. Okay, so this is hopefully a deck similar to what our opponent is doing. It's got the Grief, it's got the Fury, other cards of note, I guess Ragavan, Death Void. So main deck, they don't have too much interaction outside of Blood Moon. In the sideboard though, it turns into Magus of the Moon. So that's not forcible, which is quite irritating. Additionally, they also have engineered explosives that we have to be worried about. It's also possible for her opponent to surgical a card they've made us discard, which is pretty terrifying. So I think, given the fact it could be Magus, oh shit. Submit. Okay, I think I got that through. I almost ran out of time then. Let's see our sideboard. So we did get that through, fortunately. Wow, we find a Leyline hand right at the start here, so that's going to be pretty strong for us. So we're only going with 2 copies of Force of Vigor, and I was taking out a bit of a rainbow there. Minusing on the land right at the last second. Okay, cool. So opponent, Blood Crypt. I guess they're just going to get their creature and start trying to do stuff. Ragavan. Interesting. Find Hyena Umbra. Wow, we have really good auras here. I think Temple Garden is fine. There's an opportunity to search Forest. We don't have any green auras in hand, and that would turn off Daybreak Coronet, but play around Blood Moon really, really well. Opponent attacking in with Ragavan. Finds Force of Vigor. Yeah, sweet. Awesome. That's a blank. Next turn, we get Vigilance, and Ragavan's no longer a problem. So, really happy with that. So, opponent plays Fury, ditching Colligan's command. Feign Death being the ditch card of choice. So, we untap, find Core Spirit Dancer. Alright, well, we'll just start loading up on our creature here. And a nice little attack for 3. Good blocks on the Ragavan. Next turn, we will resolve Daybreak Coronet, and Fury will no longer be an issue. So opponent attacking with both creatures, obviously blocking the Ragavan here. We go all the way down to 7. Close to dead. Opponent. Oh, wow. That's an irritating one. So we need to draw white mana here. Opponent should be doing this pre-combat, so we don't get the block on Ragavan. I guess that would destroy Ragavan then. Find Rancor. Ah, that's annoying. So we have to hope our opponent doesn't have a removal spell for Core Spirit Dancer. Alright, we're going to try and play it out. It's not going to be easy though. Exile all graveyards. Goodbye, Sentinel's Eyes. Opponent attacks in with the Fury. So we have a choice here. I think if they have Lightning Bolt, they can interact instant speed. I think if they had it, they probably would have played it though. Best uptick to winning is Core Spirit Dancer surviving. And then that gives us 1 extra draw at a land. So we'll play for that. Hopefully no more Furies from our opponent. Okay, so opponent plays out Seasoned Pyromancer. I guess that pitching Grief there. Find Forest. Alright, come on deck. Let's do this. Pray for land. Oh no, that's not the land we want. Alright, so we need to survive 1 more turn again. We can attack with Core Spirit Dancer here. So let's do that. And then look to chump block out the Fury again. Oh wait, is this a mistake? No, I think it's fine. Because this is going to exile and it's going to have haste because it's already on the battlefield, right? No, it has Summoning Sickness. That's a pleasant surprise. Oh no, opponent with the Fatal Push on our Core Spirit Dancer. We can reload next turn on our Scout, but damn, that's a good draw from them. But our Scout is unfortunately sacrificed. Okay, so another mana would be good. Find Bogle. Oh man, like 1 mana short here. Opponent attacks with these wide creatures next turn as well. Alright, so we're just dead. Let's go to game 3. Force of Vigor possibly loses a bit of agency. Opponent just saw it that game. Or it's on the play, so it's not going to be quite as important. Definitely going to want to bring back in Temple Garden here. Yes, after seeing that Saga that destroys 1 mana permanents, maybe Spirit Mantle's a little bit better too. So we'll submit like this, get back into it. Hand looks pretty good. Kind of weak to that Saga. Can't resolve a Daybreak Coronet currently if we were to draw it, but I mean, hopefully our opponent doesn't just rip our hand to pieces. Let's see. Alright, so opponent with Grief plus Undying. Taking away the Scout, that's an interesting one. Do they take away Totem Armor now? Totem Armor gone, so Saga likely in hand for our opponent. Can't utilize the green mana here unless we play Core Spirit Dancer. Let's Ethereal Armor attack, try and keep some sort of pace here. If we draw land, Spirit Dance is good. Alright, so opponent cracks Bloodstained Mire for Mountain, then attacks us. Anything from them second main? I guess Explosives. Okay, Turok. So this one has protection from white. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, target opponent discards 2 cards at random. So, not great for us right now. Guess on the plus side, no Fury plus Undying, and opponent didn't tear apart our hand. So, likely we're going to face 3 mana Saga. We're going to lose our 1-drops. Then we're looking for land, and we can go Core Spirit Dancer, return Sentinel's Eyes. Opponent, Seasoned Pyromancer. Okay. Happy with that. What were they holding? Arid Mesa and another Seasoned Pyromancer. So that's going to be a giant get out of jail free card there for us. It's weird that they didn't have that enchantment with the way they sequence their starting hand. With the grief triggers. Wow. Deck absolutely hates us at the moment. We are still in it. Only just. Keep on attacking. All we get is an elemental token. Could be worse. Alright, play out our guy. Hopefully the blank on removal here. Opponent plays Night's Whispers. I guess they're maybe looking for removal for Spirit Dancer. They're still not interacting with our Scout though. So we do actually have a chance to block the Grief here. The downside of that is if they have an Undying effect, they could take away Daybreak Coronet. So maybe we want to let Grief go. Alright, opponent attacks with Grief plus Turok. We'll block with the Scout here. We'll take the damage from the Grief there. Again, we don't want to cause Undying to happen and to lose Daybreak. Opponent, Undying Malice. On the Pyromancer, sure. So they get a Pyro trigger. Discarding Night's Whisper plus Fury. Wow. We're so lucky they didn't have a different red card in hand then. Alright, please reward us, Teck. It doesn't really look like a reward. Unfortunate. Alright, I guess we play on Spirit Dancer here. Finally find our white mana. And we can attack with both, so that's fine. We got 5 toughness on the Spirit Dancer, so absolutely fine here. Opponent with the Saga, Hesegus. I don't know how to say this. So that is unfortunate. Attacks for 7. So that's not us dead. But we have to draw planes. Oh man. I think we're just dead. If we go for a Dried Arbor, I don't see an out here. Our fetch land will be turned off if we don't block. I guess we're supposed to just... I guess we have to. Otherwise our fetch land is turned off anyway. So we'll block the Pyromancer. Although I think I've done this in the wrong spot. And okay, I've just killed myself. I needed to do that a turn earlier. We were drawing Bogle anyway, drawing dead, so none of that really mattered in the end. Well, unfortunately, maybe there was an argument to mull the hand to something that had leyline protection. The problem wasn't our hand and how our opponent interacted with it, though. The problem was we never hit white mana, and when we did, it was just that little bit too late. Okay, welcome back for the third match of this Modern League. Versus Schuffman. So that first hand, no good. We're going to mulligan it. This next hand, very good. Going to keep it. Put back Floofy Paws, as it is a duplicate. Alright, we'll play out our guy. Urza's Saga. So we could be versing a Hammer Time deck here. Could also be something like Amulet Titan. I think if it's Hammer Time, we want like Floofy Paws online. So I'm going to go ahead and just cast Floofy Paws. We're guaranteed to resolve both these auras. We can give it hexproof. Later on, maybe protection from creatures. Attacking with Bogle. So Saga Trigger Forest plays Steve. So I guess it's an Amulet deck of some description or a Titan deck of some description. My assumption would be more Scapeshift based if they're running Steve. Find another Daybreak Coronet. Okay, that's pretty impressive. So Floofy Paws, activate. Go ahead and get our Ethereal Armor. Throw down on Daybreak. My goodness, this is fun. And we'll get Alpha Authority here. Attack for a bit, and I think like laying Bogle out here is fine. It's very impressive Floofy Paws. I would be surprised if they didn't sack the Steve here. Yeah. So they stack the Steve, fog the 1 damage. We get in for 11. They very, very difficult to deal with Floofy Paws. So Saga Trigger, opponent gets Amulet off the Saga Trigger. Can they go off? They've got double Amulet now. The second Amulet was cast from hand, by the way. So here comes the action. We're on 29 life, so it's going to be hard to Valakut our face. Opponent, Dryad of Lycian Grove. So another play on the... Okay, Summoner's Pact. Gets the prime time. Another play on the Growth Chamber. Alright, opponent plays prime time. So more triggers here. Okay, so finding Valakut plus Growth Chamber, I believe. Yeah. Is there another prime time coming? Second Summoner's Pact. Another prime time. Okay. More triggers. Alright, so this time finding Slayer's Stronghold plus Boros Garrison. And opponent's 1 land off of Valakut doing stuff. So a Stronghold trigger for both of the prime times. Going to be attacks. Going to be some more triggers from the attack step. Attack declaration. Okay, so Valakut plus Vesuva off the first one. There's a lot of damage coming at our face. So the first trigger is 18 damage here, and from the second trigger, it should well and truly be lethal, unfortunately. And this is all before we can block. So close to getting there. What a shame. Alright, so finds Growth Chamber... plus Beside You. Oh god. Is he going for style points here? He's going to untap the Beside You. He's going to bounce the Beside You, and he's going to destroy the Hexproof and then destroy the creature while also killing us. Be pretty impressive. Oh no, he's just gone for face. Dude, we want more value than that. Alright, so opponents. Force of Vigor is good for us. Our opponent is also going to be bringing in Force of Vigor though, unfortunately. We also have to worry about things like Engineered Explosives post-board. I don't think bringing in Leyline of Sanctity is worth it, by the way. Sentinel's Eyes seems really good because we can rebuy it after a Wrath effect. I'm sort of unsure about what to ditch here in the last two slots. I kind of think we want our core Spirit Dancers sticking around. Maybe it's just Spirit Mantle. Alright, let's submit that and get into it. No auras, so we have to mulligan. Sand is better, we'll keep. It's not great into lots of interaction though. It's not the quickest hand either. Maybe we're supposed to lead off on a Horizon land there so we don't reshuffle that Bogle and potentially draw it. I'm not sure if that's worth the 1 life or not most games, but I don't think we're going to lose by 1 life. I think we're going to lose by a lot more than 1 life. So I think I misplayed that slightly. Alright, we don't draw the Bogle anyway, so I suppose it doesn't really matter. We have Core Spirit Dancer here. Opponent with the Boros Garrison, so they can play Dryad next turn. I don't think they can go off though, so let's Spirit Dancer. It'd be rare to see like a Lightning Bolt, I think. Opponent Explosives on 2. Plays out the Amulet. So we do have Hyena Umbra, so that's not going to work on our core Spirit Dancer. That will just trigger the Totem Armor. Alright, so always yes to this. We want to draw all the cards. Sentinel's Eyes is pretty reasonable too. Ethereal Armor, touch better. Yes, we find our land. Great success. If Hyena Umbra drops off, are we potentially losing our creature? Because if so, maybe Ethereal Armor should be going on the Spirit Dancer. I'm going to play so it's like guaranteed damage that we're dealing here. Yes, we also need to take into account our opponent could have Force of Vigor, so I think diversifying some auras onto the Scout is wise. As it is, he does have Force, pitching the Steve. 2 cards remain in our opponent's hand. Engineered Explosives does blow up the core Spirit Dancer this next turn. So maybe playing Ethereal Armor was a bit loose too. Maybe I could have played Sentinel's Eyes or something. Yes, another option was to not play Hyena Umbra initially, but play a bunch of 2 Ethereal Armors on the Scout to bait the Force. Which may have been the wisest moves, actually. And then second main, play the Hyena Umbra on the Spirit Dancer to keep it alive. Okay, so we do lose a lot. Regrettable. We do have some auras we can go in on, though. So we will rebuild. Attack for 3. 2 cards in hand for opponent. Alright, so a block on the Arboreal Grazer. Arboreal Grazer down. Now we can cycle Horizon Canopy looking for a Force of Vigor to interact with our opponent. Explosives on 1. Opponent is a piece of work, I tell you. Oh wow, so they just pop it. We get Hyena Umbra back there. They lose their Vial. Another Amulet. Alright, so end step, crack. Plains, cycle the Canopy. Find another scout. Okay, not like this. Please, deck. Alright, so we can get our Floofy Paws. We can escape the Sentinel's Eyes, and we can put some stuff on Floofy Paws. Ditch a couple of cards. Yes to the trigger. Get Ethereal Armor. Opponent plays Dryad. Lame as heck. Find Horizon Canopy, so we'll cycle the one on the field first. Find Alpha Authority. Oh my god, what a pull. What an incredible pull. So it has guaranteed hexproof. Is the play just Daybreak attack? Opponent can put forth chump blockers in this scenario. Or do we play a bit safer, get Totem Armor? Or get Rancor looking to reset on Bogle? I think we go for Daybreak here. Hit in. Okay, opponent, Simic Growth Chamber. Trigger on the Amulet. No Valakut trigger yet. Okay, and nothing else from our opponent. So we naturally draw the Rancor. That's pretty good. Opponent could still have Force of Vigor, but they just concede the match. All right, on to sideboarding. There's potentially an argument to remove like one Temple Garden for a Spirit Mantle, being on the draw here. I think we just run it back. That seemed to go reasonably cleanly. Alright, so this hand, good interaction with our opponent. The auras are okay, but it's going to be hard to attack with a Dryad Arbor that just has Rancor Sentinel's Eyes. I think we can have a better 6. This is not a better 6. So opponent keeps their 6. I guess we'll keep this. We'll ditch a Force. We'll ditch an Umbra. We'll hope to draw some land. So one Amulet for the opponent. Might set a stop on our opponent's upkeep. And we might just cash in the Spider Umbra, blowing this one up to slow our opponent down. Did it during this turn instead. Just in case I draw a different creature I want to throw, or if I draw like a Dryad Arbor. So we do lose a little bit of value there. They just played out the Saga. It would have been good to get Saga as well. I'll play out Floofy Paws. Good news is our opponent is a little way away from Engineered Explosives, interacting with Floofy Paws. Happy about that. Opponent finds Valakut. No green mana still. No bouncing. Find Daybreak. Wow. Let us go. Alright, start with Sentinel's Eyes. Use the trigger. Get Ethereal Armor. Now we can Hyena Umbra. Get Rancor. Alright, so good combination of auras on our guy. Turn 3, attacking for 10. Wow, opponent takes it. No interaction, so no Force of Vigor from our opponent's side there. So Urza Saga, they get to tap for a bit of mana. I guess they're getting an Amulet here. Yep, so there's Amulet, mana floating. Alright, so opponent with the Growth Chamber. Trigger, tapping for some mana. Tapping some other stuff. It's 5 mana our opponent's got. Here is the Summoner's Pact. Finding Azusa. Playing Azusa. Vesuva comes on down, copying Growth Chamber, trigger, bounce. So they return Vesuva and replay it. More mana. Alright, here's the prime time. Opponent just like needs to settle down just a little bit, you know. Alright, so Boros Garrison plus Slayer's Stronghold. Gonna give their primetime haste. Gonna get some attack triggers. Here comes the attack. So I guess at this point they can get beside you and interact with our enchantments on the battlefield. So bounce land plus beside you. Yeah, so Growth Chamber, beside you. I think their best target is Rancor, really. We'll block here. If we lose Ethereal Armor, we still have enough power. Still have 6 power. Our opponent will be ramping us when they do this as well, by the way, if that's somehow relevant. And we just go through to damage and kill the prime time. Remember, Summoner's Pact trigger on the stack for our opponent next turn is going to eat up a little bit of their mana. We find our own Besayu. Alright, so let's go ahead and Daybreak Coronet. We know what's coming from them. This way we can get... Did we have Spirit Mantle? No, Spirit Mantle was in the sideboard, so we couldn't get Spirit Mantle to guarantee evasion. Opponents seen enough, though, they concede. Alright, so this match, we lost the die roll up against America, all of America. Gonna keep this hand, get into the match. Really, really good slew of effects here. Looks like we could be versing Burn. Plenty of Daybreaks in hand, so it's just about surviving until that turn 3. We have no choice, though. We have to hurt ourselves to play our guy. Alright, so no Lightning Bolt. Opponent plays Prismatic Vista. I'm not sure what's going on here. This could be creativity. Sentinel's Eyes. Opponent cracks the Vista. Finds a waste. Warping Whale. Stomp. Okay. Are we getting Blood Moon next turn? Just plays Bone Crusher Giant. Cool. Awesome. That's fine. Find the beside you. I guess we just Daybreak. Oh, this isn't a draw step. What are we doing? Must have accidentally put a stop on my draw step. Wait, what's happened here? It just... Okay. Something funky. Let's just like lock this thing again so I don't accidentally do that. I think when I remove the stop, it automatically skipped me out of my draw step. I also didn't play land. I'm not okay. Chalice on 1. Sure. Block, question mark. Cool. So opponent concedes. Alright. Interesting stuff. So I had a quick glance. The only list I found online was this Screed list, which is like a red mid-range one. Never mind, I just clicked on the right here and we probably found more of what our opponent is about. So this particular one has Obosh. I don't believe our opponent does, but Spikefield has it. Okay, cool. So we're looking at Blood Moon. We're looking at Fabled Mirror Breaker. And then things like Fury, Magus of the Moon, Ragavan, Blast Zone, Chalice. Okay. All right, so with all of that, we're going to bring in our Force of Vigor. Really, really good here. I don't really think we want Leyline. Deafening Silence doesn't seem that important to me. Tremon Griffspoon, because that's kind of average. After that, decision making, maybe a touch harder with what to trim. Sentinel's Eyes seems pretty strong. Spider Umbra may be a bit weaker, but it is a green fodder for the Force. Might just trim on one Floofy Paws. Alright, so we see this hand. It's definitely a keep. It's not like amazing aura quality wise, but it has good protection from Blood Moon, from Chalice, and Blast Zone. Find Beside You as well, so even more protection. Oh, opponent Eldrazi Temple. Interesting. Attacks with the Ragavan. Guess we could be getting Thought Not Seared here on turn 2. That would be horrible for us. Finds a Bogle. Cool. We didn't need that anyway. Thank you for filtering us, opponent. Damn. Here comes the Eldrazi. So that is Thought Not Sear. For some reason, my program does not have this artwork. Takes away the Spirit Mantle. A bit annoying. Find Sentinel's Eyes. I guess we play it. No attacks. So, see what our opponent does here. We're going to need some help from the top of our own library. We can block the Ragavan though, so that's kind of nice. Opponent attacks just with Thought Not Seer. We can keep Beside You as interaction for our opponent, which is nice. Looks like a second Thought Not Seer, so opponent doubling down on our woes. Goodbye to the Bogle. I mean, maybe it's Force. I don't know. Goodbye to the Bogle. Gotcha. Find Rancor. Not super impressed on the Rancor there. We can play it. Yeah, I think we play the Beside You, play the Rancor, and don't attack. Look to Cycle Horizon Canopy end step. Get and relevant aura, like anything that gives first strike, or maybe white mana plus Daybreak. Opponent plays out Matter Reshaper. Sorry. I had the pause at the wrong spot there. We're not attacking. We look to block. If our opponent has Reality Smasher, we're pretty screwed. Fury is kind of good for them too. That's going to be lethal. Alright, there it is. Reality Smasher coming in. Lots of damage. Okay, so opponent on an Eldrazi list. The Force really did not do very much this game. Doesn't necessarily mean they'll do nothing next game. I think we want to trim though. Maybe bring back in some of our effects like this. Submit, get into it. This is also a consideration for Leyline. After seeing Thought Not Seer, I think we just want to be quick. Hands a keep. It's not incredible though. We need help with mana. If we get that help, we get our white mana. Obviously, this is going to be really, really strong. Alright, so play our guy. Opponent plays out the Ragavan. Find Rancor. I think we attack into Ragavan. If opponent trades, we play the second Scout. If not, maybe we can play a Rancor. Okay, opponent trades. I'm okay with that. Opponent with Prismatic Vista into Wastes. And I guess here comes Chalice. So Chalice on one. Let's just go ahead and blow that one up. Pitching our Rancor. Ensuring we can resolve our Sentinel's Eyes. We find another Daybreak. Alright, so here's hoping no Blast Zone from the opponent. Okay, Eldrazi Temple into Matter Reshaper. That's fine. Alright, we find the white mana. Cool. Excellent. Plains this time. Conserve some life. Play around Blood Moon. Big attack for 5. This is where we want to be. No block from the opponent, so no card draw. No card effect from the Reshaper. Opponent plays and cracks the Vista. Is this a Reality Smasher? Cool. Trample Haste, when it becomes the target of a spell an opponent controls, counter that spell unless its controller discards a card. So opponent can't attack there either. We find Beside You. Beside You really doesn't do too much. Guess the play here is attack. Spirit Dancer's second main. Beside You can stay in hand. Okay, Matter Reshaper from the opponent. Finds Chalice of the Void. Plays it on 0. Cool. Opponent with the Prismatic Vista. Sacking. Getting lands. Plays Fury. Alright, well, Fury's going to do Fury things. Can't do much about that. Goodbye, Core Spirit Dancer. Untap. Another Besayu. Alright. Alright, well, hands forced. Play Daybreak. Attack. Still going to leave Besayu in hand. Opponent's seen enough. They concede and we take the match. Okay, welcome back to the 5th and final match. We won our die roll, 4th of the league, versus Russell Muscle. And opponent has a companion. It is Kahira. I'm not entirely sure what that means as far as their deck construction. I think the control decks play this card, so it could be Azura's control. Hand's looking decent, no double white, so it might cause us to slow play some of our auras, which is a shame. Opponent plays out Triome, passes to us. Alright, so I guess we play Besayu. Probably Spirit Mantle for efficiency, mana-wise. Attack in, hopefully land next turn. Opponent plays an island and passes. Another Floofy Paws. Alright, so dangle a Hyena Umbra in front of our opponent's mana. That one gets countered. It's fine. Attack. Opponent, Hallowed Fountain in tapped, passing back. Find a Spirit Mantle. Sure. That one resolves. Alright, cool. Maybe they're out of counter magic now. Means we might be able to get more aggressive with Ethereal Armor next turn. Castle Vantress, Leyline of Binding. Oh, lame. I guess that's not too bad. It only took one. I thought it was going to take both. Prismatic Ending. Wait, what? What does that mean they are fueling their graveyard for then? I'm unsure. Alright, so Ethereal Armor attack. Teferi Time Raveler, sure. Opponent bounces Ethereal Armor. They're on 9, like, we're fine right now. I guess we technically play around something here, right? Alright, so play Ethereal Armor. Cool. Attack them again, pressure that life total. Leyline of Binding's instant speed. Gross. Plus on Teferi. Mystic Gate. Find Daybreak. Well, I think the players just continue to attack our opponent. 2 cards in their hand. Third Leyline Binding. Holy smokes. Does the deck even have to try to draw this card, or is it just like automatically in hand? Shark Typhoon. Okay. So that's now like 5 bits of interaction from the opponent. Chalice, sure. Chalice on 1. Alright, well, drawing like a Besayu would be a good interaction, right? Windswept Teeth. Thanks for your patronage, deck. Alright, play Floofy Paws, pass turn. Opponent plus on the Teferi. Plays the companion. Attacks with the shark. Nope, leaving the shark back. Aura? That's not an aura. Deck, you disappoint me. Alright, so unfortunately we couldn't get the tempo on our opponent because our land screwed us. Opponent bounces Floofy Paws. Weird. Second Teferi. This one, the big Teferi. Doing control things. Take some damage. So I guess my opponent's got some sort of counter magic for Floofy Paws. Cool. We do have the second one. Does the second one resolve? It does. Alright, I don't think playing Bogle out is... Well, we can't. We got Chalice on the field anyway. End step crack. Opponent plus on the Teferi. Not even bothering with their lands. These things attacking. We'll take. Okay, so in response to this, we'll deck then. Not paying life. Okay, we find a Horizon Canopy. Play the Horizon Canopy. Sack. 2 mana aura, please. It is not a 2 mana aura. Alright, we'll concede. I guess we're not technically dead yet. Can block with Bogle and look to high roll the Floofy Paws. I'm probably supposed to search up Dryad Arbor as well. Shark Typhoon, so that's enough to kill us. Alright, so here Gadok Teague is extremely good. Teague is going to be coming in. Probably want some enchantment interaction too. Maybe not too much. Somewhere between 2 and 3 Force of Vigor. Minus Griffspoon. I don't think it's that important here. I think Spirit Mantle is probably more of a liability than a good thing, although it's good into Chalice, which we know they have. Probably want to minus some creatures here. Seems we're bringing in Gadok Teague. Alright, we'll go with that. Don't know if that boarding was optimal, but I don't really want to trim on auras. Alright, so we see the 7 with reasonable interaction, reasonable auras. We'll keep. Play our guy. Pass turn. Alright, brick on land because, yeah, that makes sense. Getting absolutely punished. Alright, we'll play our guy. Opponent is holding up Counterspell, I suppose. Find Ethereal Armor. We'll dangle out Sentinel's Eyes. Obviously, it's not a very good counter target. Attacking for 4. Opponent with Triome in tapped end step. So I'm guessing Leyline of Binding's coming out soon. Prismatic Ending. You got it. We do find land. Cool. That is at least something. I think our Teague in hand here is pretty important. Let's play out Sentinel's Eyes, see if they counter. We want to resolve Gadok Teague before a counterspell happens. Cool. So counterspell there. We still get Ethereal Armor down. Sequence the land late like that to bait the misplay. Opponent just hard passes to us, so I'm guessing they have Leyline here. I'm going to play Spirit Mantle pre-combat. Cool. That resolves. Attacks. Okay, nothing from the opponent. Interesting. Archmage's Charm, drawing 2 cards. Wow. We might have them here. Supreme Verdict. Sure. So we can reload on Gadok Teeg, which is nice. We want to hit land here, hopefully. We hit land. Perfect. So Gadok Teeg plus Hyena Umbra for protection. Should note, if we played out the Hyena Umbra last turn, opponent could have countered it with the Archmage's Charm. So we get an attack here. Opponent Solitude. Of course. Guess we look for another creature here. We don't find it. So opponent getting in with Solitude here. Really unfortunate. If we didn't like lose on tempo, would have been able to get there. I'm gonna like second main this scout to try and get past counter magic, but opponent is aware to our ruse. Countering. And Memory Dolge, sure. Attacking in with that Solitude, 5 cards in hand. And if like another creature gets countered here, I'll probably just concede. Do the same trick. Okay, that one sticks. Excellent. Try for Spider Umbra now. That resolves as well. All right, we have a ball game. Another Memory Dolge from opponent, maybe. Shark Typhoon for a massive amount. Okay. Opponent trying to erase us here. Attacking for a bunch. No blocks from me. That is 8 damage. Not dead to the next shark attack. Find Gadok Teeg. So continue to assume they don't have counter magic. If they do, we're probably dead. Opponent finds the dress down. So this plus Leyline. Alright, GG opponent. You got there. Well done. It's a little unfortunate. I think that matchup is possibly a little bit better than that particular game showed. Unfortunately, we didn't have tempo, which made it very, very difficult. You want to be able to curve out with your lands. And by playing multiple auras a turn into control matchup. Overall, really, really happy with how the deck did. I'm happy with the configuration. I would suggest some changes, but we are going to be making changes next week with the addition of Audacity. So for those of you that don't know, Audacity is essentially like Rancor. So it's really good. It's going to be another aura which adds more than 1 power, which is pretty strong. I'm going to be looking to play this as a playset, and if you want to catch that video, be sure to subscribe to the channel because it's coming out next week. Guess the main thing to discuss would be the sideboard here. I'm fairly happy with the configuration. I don't think I really wanted to change it. Deafening Silence, like we didn't see a Cascade deck today, but I think it's worth having in there for that matchup. Gadok Teeg would have been pretty good against control if we had tempo and were able to resolve it where we would. All right. Well, that's it from me today, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video. As always, if you did, let me know in the comment section. Thank you all so much for watching, and see you next time.